There's something about the feeling of being overlooked that sinks deeper than most wounds. Being overlooked doesn't always mean someone said no to you. Sometimes they said nothing at all. And that silence can be the heaviest sound in a woman's life. But Kathryn Kuhlman would look into the eyes of that woman, the one who's questioning her value, the one who's wondering if her efforts matter, the one who has grown tired of showing up, and she would say, "You are not forgotten." You see, so many women walk this life giving more than they receive. They pour from cups that are half still. They sacrifice their time, their sleep, their dreams just to keep others afloat. And yet the world so often treats their strength as something ordinary. But Kathryn would remind every one of them that ordinary strength doesn't move mountains. Ordinary strength doesn't survive what you survive. You, woman, are a quiet miracle, walking through noise that never recognized you. You are the poetry in a world that often prefers noise over meaning. Maybe you've been showing up for everyone else while your own soul sits in the back of the line, waiting for a moment to be seen. Maybe you've stood in rooms where you gave your all only to watch someone else receive the credit. Maybe you've swallowed your words, your pain, your brilliance just to keep peace. And somewhere along the way, you began to question whether anyone sees you at all. And she would tell you that your value does not diminish because someone else failed to notice it. There is a divine timing to everything, and while the world races forward, rewarding the loudest voices and the most polished faces, you're being refined in the silence. In the moments no one else sees, you're becoming something unstoppable. The applause may not have come yet. The recognition may still be far off. But what's growing inside of you is preparing to shine in its time. The world can't overlook what is destined to rise. And when that moment comes, and it will come, the very people who once walked has never defended on their attention, and they'll realize they need to walk, to tell. When a your story was never waiting on their validation. Being overlooked doesn't mean you're invisible. It just means your light is still warming up. And sometimes the brightest stars take the longest to rise. Kathryn believed that there's a special kind of anointing on those who walk through shadows without losing their light. And though we speak now without religious tones, the truth remains. You are being shaped for something that can't be ignored forever. Jesus said, if they didn't clap for you yet, what matters most is that you didn't stop dancing. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. You are a quiet force wrapped in grace, courage, and a will that refuses to give up. The world may have overlooked you, but one day it will stand to its feet. Not just to notice your courage, but to honor it. There's a certain kind of strength that's never photographed. It doesn't wear medals, it doesn't stand on podiums, it doesn't chant, it doesn't go viral, and yet it holds the world together. It's the strength of a woman who shows up every day, even when she feels like falling apart. The one who gets out of bed when her spirit is exhausted. The one who keeps smiling when her heart is aching. That strength doesn't come from applause. It's built in silence. Kathryn Kuhlman would remind you of that. Because there are women everywhere right now, walking through quiet battles no one knows about. They're not asking for pity. They're not screaming for attention. They just keep going. They carry their children, their households, their dreams. They carry the weight of disappointment, the ache of loneliness, and the burden of expectations. And they do it with a grace that's almost too quiet for the world to recognize. But Kathryn saw them. She understood that behind every composed face, there is often a story of survival, a daily decision to keep rising. And that strength, it's loud in its impact, even if it's silent. You see, say the living plant is misunderstood. It's the kind that endures being misunderstood without losing its kindness. It's the kind that endures being beyond cred without losing its kindness. It's the kind that keeps nurturing, being beyond the roof, being bright, being valuable. Kathryn would say, where real strength lives, not in being loud. Women are trained from a young age to carry everything with a smile, to hold in their emotions so they don't make others uncomfortable, to make their pain small so the room can feel big. But Kathryn's message to every woman is this: don't underestimate what you've built in silence. The nights you sat with your thoughts and chose not to break. The moment you encouraged others while you yourself were running on empty. Those were not wasted. They were sacred. That quiet strength is building something eternal. Maybe your battle wasn't dramatic. Maybe it didn't come with sirens and announcements. Maybe it looked like showing up for work when you were grieving, or feeding your children when you were the one starving emotionally, or choosing to try again after failing privately. That doesn't make your story any less heroic. Kathryn believed in that kind of resilience, the kind that doesn't seek a stage because it is the foundation beneath everyone else's stage. You don't need a spotlight to be powerful. You don't need to go viral to be valuable. What you've overcome, what you've endured, and what you continue to carry with grace, that is your legacy. And when Kathryn spoke to women, she didn't speak to the version of them the world applauded. She spoke to the tired version, the overlooked version, the one who cries in the shower and laughs at the dinner table all in the same hour. She reminded them that just because their strength wasn't visible didn't mean it wasn't real. Your quiet battles are not invisible to the ones who truly see. And even if no one ever says thank you, even if no one ever claps for the way you held your family together, the way you pushed through illness, the way you kept going when life didn't give you a break, you should know this. Those battles built a strength in you that cannot be shaken. The kind of strength the world desperately needs, even if it doesn't always know how to recognize it. So if you're walking through something right now, silently, patiently, bravely, this is your reminder that you're not weak for feeling tired. You're not behind because no one noticed. You're not invisible because no one said your name. You are stronger than you think. And Kathryn Kuhlman would say, hold your head high. Because even if no one claps, even if no one sees, even if the world stays quiet, you, woman, are thunder in disguise. Jesus has a way of sinking into the bone, not just the loud kind, the slam doors and the harsh words, but the subtle kind too. The way someone dismisses your idea mid-sentence. The job you didn't get. The love you gave that was never returned. The opportunity that passed you by without explanation. She would remind you that rejection isn't the end of your story. It's a redirection toward the one that was always meant for you. Sometimes you knock on a door thinking it's the one, and when it doesn't open, you stand there questioning everything about yourself. You rewind every word, every move, wondering what you could have done differently. But Kathryn would whisper this truth into your tired heart. Not every closed door is a punishment. Some are protection, some are preparation, and some are simply proof that what's meant for you needs its own timing. She believed that a woman's purpose is never dependent on another person's permission, so when they didn't choose you, it wasn't because you weren't worthy. It was because your path was never meant to be attached to their limitations. The rooms that couldn't hold your light were too small for your future anyway. The ones who couldn't see your value weren't equipped to carry your vision. You're not missing out on something that belonged to you. Jesus be rerouted towards something greater. Something that doesn't need to be forced, begged for, or shrunk into. It's painful in the moment, of course. No sugarcoating that. Rejection stings. It feels personal even when it isn't. It makes you question if you're ever going to be truly seen. But Kathryn's voice was always a soft wind of perspective, and she'd tell you, the pain you're feeling now is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that your spirit was brave enough to try. And trying, even when it doesn't work out, is the mark of a woman who is still alive with hope, still alive with fire. And that fire, even when it flickers, is not going out. It's finding new direction, a new path, a new door. You may not see it yet, but your feet are already being guided somewhere higher. You were never meant to stay in the places that rejected you. You were meant to rise from them. You were meant to walk away with your head high, with your lessons held close, and your spirit still intact. Some of the greatest chapters in a woman's life begin with rejection. Kathryn herself knew the sting of it. She wasn't always welcomed. Her ideas weren't always embraced. But she didn't let the silence of others silence her calling. She kept showing up, kept trusting that her message would find the ones who needed it. And it did, not because she forced it, but because she followed the redirection. So maybe your door didn't open. Maybe they didn't choose you. Maybe they walked away when you needed them most. Let them. Let the job go. Let the relationship fall away. Let the silence stay silent. Because what's ahead of you isn't asking for compromise. It's not asking you to shrink. It's not asking you to be anyone other than the full, powerful woman you are becoming. The path you're on now, though winding, though unfamiliar, is not empty. It's not accidental. It's sacred. Every step is a step away from the things that couldn't see you clearly and toward the ones that will never stop clapping when you walk in the room. Your stage is being built in the unseen, and soon the lights will rise. Not because you forced them to, but because you trusted the process. You trusted the redirection. You trusted yourself. So don't look back at the rejection with bitterness. Look back with gratitude. It didn't break you. It revealed you. It didn't define you. It refined you. And it will come. You won't be standing in someone else's shadow. You'll be standing in your own light. You don't have to raise your voice to raise the atmosphere in a room. You don't have to command attention to carry power. And you certainly don't have to compete with noise to be worthy of being heard. Kathryn Kuhlman believed in that kind of presence. The kind that didn't need to shout, because its essence spoke louder than any words ever could. She knew that some of the most powerful women don't walk in with an entrance, they walk in with energy. The world tries to convince women that power looks a certain way. Loud, bold, relentless, always fighting to be seen. But Kathryn offered a different message. She offered permission to breathe, to be soft without being weak, to speak with grace and still carry authority. Because power isn't always in the volume of your voice, it's in the clarity of your soul. The woman who knows who she is doesn't need to prove it to anyone. She doesn't need to announce her worth. She just lives it. You've seen her before. The woman who walks into chaos and calms it just by being there. The one who doesn't chase validation but still leaves a lasting impact. The one who listens more than she talks, but when she speaks, it matters. That woman isn't trying to impress anyone. She's not performing. She's not pretending. She just is. And that in itself is revolutionary in a world that's constantly screaming for more noise. Maybe you've been told you're too quiet, too gentle, too sensitive. But Kathryn would say, don't you dare shrink from that. Don't you dare apologize for the way you carry your strength. You weren't made to be like everyone else. You weren't made to scream for a place at the table. You were made to build your own and invite others into a space where peace, not pressure. And yes, it's easy to feel invisible in a world that idolizes performance, a world that equates confidence with volume and power with dominance. But Kathryn knew that still waters run deep, that there's more power in being grounded than in being loud, that a woman who knows her truth doesn't need permission to live it out. She carries it in her silence, in the way she holds herself, in the way she honors her own voice, even if no one else is listening. Being powerful doesn't mean you have to match the chaos around you. It means you choose to stay rooted in your calm, even when everything is pulling you to react. It means you don't lose your softness just because the world is hard. It means you don't raise your voice just to be heard. You raise your presence by being fully, unapologetically you. Kathryn didn't shout her way through the noise. She moved through it with such purpose, such stillness, that the noise had no choice but to quiet itself. So to the woman who's been questioning if her softness is enough, it is. To the woman who's been wondering if she needs to become louder, harsher, harder, you don't. Your power is not in the decibel of your voice. It's the kind that's built in the dark, carried in the quiet, and released like lightning when the moment is right. You don't have to be loud to be legendary. You just have to be true. You don't be very abundant. You encourage. You